Good to see everyone again. Anyone new here? Welcome. What's your name? Abdul. Abdul. Welcome. Welcome. I'm Brian. This is Chris. We're the organizers of IRBA. This is installment number 3 of the Coding Object game. I'll get into this in a bit. What we're going to be doing for the few out in here, Chris got us started on this ensemble coding method where you have someone that can be here who's going to be the typist. Their job is to not think, just type. You're going to have a navigator standing over here. Their job is to think, not type. And then you have these ensembles who can help the navigator and typist kind of get through it. And then we'll have a rotation of people. So the navigator will become the next typist, and we'll have someone from the ensemble jump up to be the next navigator and group. 4 minutes? We'll go with 4-minute intervals. That way you're only on the spot for 4 minutes, or typing for 4 minutes. If you get up here and you have no clue what to do, I'll be up here as well. That you can also say, hey, I'm a little lost. I don't know what's going on. I want to take this time to learn rather than progress the code. And that's why we talk about things. The key is make it so people can learn Python rather than worrying about, oh, did we get the perfect game like that? One major piece of retrospective that we had from last time was people were confused. Not everyone really knew the rules of Blackjack. They weren't sure what we were trying to do, how to determine if we're on the right path. So earlier today, I kind of built out the README here. So
is this on GitHub? Or?
yes, github.com/irba/blackjack. So basically, I'm just going to go over the rules. You're going to have a number of players who are trying to beat the dealer. The players aren't playing against each other, they're only playing against the dealer. And the object is to get closer, as close as possible without going over. Card values 2 through 10 are the face value of the cards. Royals are all with 10, and aces can be worth either 1 or 11, depending on the situation, and that's going to be the real tricky part. Each player will get 2 cards dealt to them, and they'll be face up, where the dealer will have 1 card hidden, and then if the player has 21, so if they have a 10, a royal, and an ace, then they automatically win, which is nice. Otherwise, the players can choose to either hit or stand. Hit is where you get an extra card, 1 card at a time. If you ever go over 1, you bust, and you're done. If you stand, that just means you're done taking a card. So if you have, a king and a queen, you got 20, you don't want to risk the odds of not getting an ace, just stand. And so getting through that play logic is what my goal ultimately is. We can get into betting. So if you beat the dealer, then you get your, they pull the your bet back. If you lose to the dealer, you just lose it. And if you tie with the dealer, then you just take your bet back and you don't pay anything new. So any questions about the game of Blackjack?
Is there one more rule? If you draw 5 cards without putting 21, if you win.
I've not heard that rule.
Usually it happens. Oh, it did, right? I googled it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's also splitting, doubling down, and experience. If somehow we blow through this, then we get to work on it. We're going to also work on the interface. Just a command line interface, so this would be the simplest, but you do whatever. Got a question? Yeah.
The dealer taking cards, isn't a rule that the dealer test of 11, you take a card and implement it.
The dealer goes left, the dealer must hit until they have a value greater than 17. Or maybe it's greater than 8. We can do that. The other big thing was we were unsure about the tests to write. So we went through and stubbed up a couple tests. So I didn't put too much detail in the implementation because I want the implementation to be determined by us. So, let's make sure that, I think we already tested up above from before that does make sure we calculate the cards correctly. But you can see I have like a 2 and a 3 adds up to a 5, a 6 and a 8 add up to 14. So just do the number cards. And then we want to make sure that the royals all evaluate 10. We have calculating the values for aces. Sometimes there'll be 2 cards in a hand, or some will have 3. So those values should be adding up. Again, we'll have to implement the actual test itself as we do, but and then make sure the hand size is correct when you hit. We'll have to implement the hit function. Same for standing, making sure that you start with 2 and you end with 2. Question.
I was just gonna say, it might be good to explain the iPass features, just the exhale tries that.
I'll start with that in a second. Okay, yeah. Test that the dealer must hit. So if they're at 16, they must hit. If they're at 17, then they don't have to hit anymore. Who wins? So they both have a 10, then a king and an 8. So it's easy to tell. One has 20, one has 18. Then I just flip the king and the 8 there. And then here they have the same value. And then if we get into the betting parts, start with 100, you end with 110, or go down to 90, or same spot. So
Are we implement just a dealer head on head with the player? Or is there more?
ideally, or we could try to start with 1 player, but it's easy, and I think it'd be easy enough to start with like just an array of players, and then you just go through the player list so that you can always determine how many players you want.
Do we have more?
We can set it up if we want, but for now, I'm just to stick with 1. So who's not familiar with PyTest? Cool. So PyTest is a testing framework. So this is how we are going to know that the code that we're writing in the main file is working, as I point to the read. It takes specific inputs, and you're checking to make sure you have a specific output. This PyTest marked that X failed means we're expecting this test to fail. And we know it's going to fail because it's assert false. You give it a statement that you wanted to evaluate to see if the test is working. But this is just our way to say, hey, we expected this one to fail anyway, so we're worried about it, but we're going to implement it later. We're going to get it to work. We'll get rid of that line, and everything will be hunky-dory.
So right now, so that when you implement it, the test will pass because yours should be false. So when we connect,
They will X pass. So you have pass fail, then you have X fail and X pass. So X pass is saying, am I right on this? That if a function that is supposed to fail under X fail, there will be an X pass. We'll figure it out.
Essentially, we expect it to fail, so when we run it and it fails, we're going to raise the
And then we have this parameterize function, which allows us to call the same test with a couple different configurations. So 2 different hands from the dealer determining whether or not they must hit. So we'll evaluate their score and then return. They'll say, you know, whether the dealer must hit equals the. So it should hit equals.
It's true.
Yeah, because it's 16. And you can see some of the completed tests up here at the top. So, for example, when you deal a card to a player 0 versus player 1, you know, the game starts with 2 cards per player, then we deal them, and now we expect them to be 3. So it's the length of the hand of the player is equal to 3. So that's how we start. Any other questions before we start the rotation? Would like to type first. Lottery. Be the first navigator. I'm gonna try to keep us out of the rotation this time. What? I'm making the navigator.
Before we start, so I gave everybody post notes and short keys, if anybody doesn't have one, raise your hand. So at the end of this, we're gonna do a little retrospective. So you have these cards or post notes that you can see the observations you have, you know, things that are like things you learned about Python, things that you appreciated about what we did, things that we could improve, things you've learned, any observation you have about tonight. You know, as they're going on, write them down, preferably all caps and as few words as possible so I can read them. We'll put them up and we'll just kind of share what we've learned and see if we can improve and stuff like that.
On that vein, for those of you in your report, does this help with the issue? At least 2 people have that.
Okay, so best player hand score is a failing test. Can we scroll to them? Best player hand score game. Game is getting initialized. And equals card. Assert hand, or evaluate hand equals 5. It's failing at.
Yeah, biggest time in review.
Their name value is not defined. Can we go to that section of the code and jack up I line 11? The value is not defined because values is, it should be values. Yeah. Can we rerun the test? Awesome. Are there any other places? Okay, so there's no other failing tests. Let's start filling in the failing tests. So can you scroll down to the first X fail? All right. Test score is calculated correctly for number of cards. Forgot what methods we've even had available to us. So it's. Oh, okay. All right. So scroll back up on the left side. All right. So so on line 53 on the right, it's like erase the assert false section. So can you do assert space, evaluate hand. Like do square brackets and put first card, second card on the second card. And then at the end of that line, do an equal expected score. Yeah, and then can you remove line 47, mark X fail, and then rerun the test.
I just want to point out, like, see how these are like cross marked rather than X? That's supposed to be the X.
Cool, okay, so that passes. Let's go down to the next test on line 62. Test score is calculated correctly for base cards. So it's the same thing. Okay, so can you just copy and paste the thing from line 53? Yeah. And yeah. And then remove Command V. Make sure it's all in the back. Yeah, it's
No, the keyboard. This one.
all right, just retype it. Whatever.
Then control.
Jesus. All right, and then remove line 56, please.
Well, that's right, you changed your VS Code thing, so you can't use just control.
All right, cool. Please rerun the tests.
Also PyCharm.
What's that?
All right, so that fails, and it's because
Oh,
Jack, like, that's cool. 8 plus a Jack should be 18. Why is that? Is the Jack getting evaluated as an 11? I guess so.
Yeah, so in the actual library we're using,
Yeah.
the card not value for Jack, communicating is 11, 12, and 13 respectively, so we need to code to adjust that.
All right, so in line 7, let's above that, let's do something. Not sure yet. Oh man, I think my time is volunteering to come on next.
Is there a way we can get more detail as to what's going on?
What's happening is when evaluate hand is getting called, the line 8 currently the whole method sums the values of the cards in your hand, and Jack, Queen, King does not all equate to a value of 10. I'm assuming it's 11, 12, and 13. And so the test is failing because the expected score is higher than, or the outcome of the score is higher than the expected score.
We're getting the value from a library that has the dictionary set up that way? Is that what we're saying?
so it's gonna be hard to. You would want to be inside that loop, right?
Inside the list comprehension?
Yeah.
It's one way. Would you have to navigate it?
It's 2 months ago that I moved.
That's all right, no big deal. And I'm here to help you too. So the best part about this is ideally we talk in like
What I'm thinking was just, so like, if I'm understanding right, the value is card value for card in hand. It's gonna do something for each one as it goes through.
Yeah.
And so,
and we can add like a.
so,
Yeah.
right, so like we can say, if like, we can put just the logic would be, right, the logic would be if, card equals 10 or greater than or equal to 10.
You want this in those time?
Like, I kind of talk about like the idea, and then, because like.
Yeah.
Right.
You would run in something, look at that and say 10, 11, 12, or 13, and in that instance of the loop, you would say if it is that it's actually inside
Different guy.
a different value. So I'm not sure the best way to.
Is the ace one or is the ace 14?
Well, let's get to that when we get to those.
Well-
A will be a 1 in the library, but we'll worry about the logic.
Well, I'm sure the, sort of, it's really interesting to replace it.
But, right, that's not, you don't get ace is 1. That's a good point. So, yes, appreciating. So the list comprehension, when we're doing that, right, are, the if one in values, is that if statement happening? No, we're making the values equals that list comprehension that's building out.
The things that you're trying to do is say values equals card value in values less than 10 else 10 for card 10.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
Those are
I would put that afterwards.
Card value.
Oh,
Or,
Right.
card values. All, if say it goes after. Or the comprehension.
Yeah.
So then what you have here is that's making.
yeah.
The else part, because else is gonna.
So
What's the then?
There is because we're missing the start at here.
The list comprehension is cute, but perhaps we should break it out into a form. It's easier.
Well, especially like we already have a pattern here for if one value, so I would. Pattern for if,
So we break,
11, 12, 13.
so if we break this is a loop, we can then evaluate. I'll watch with it.
Right.
Was the consensus was going to break out for loop? Classic for loop. So I don't know if you want to go online, we can leave it out there to help us think, and then we can delete it after, right? We're gonna comment it out, great. So, for loop. So what are we gonna do for each one? Do we need to have, like, our ultimate goal of this is to return the sum of values, right? So we're building out values, so we need to declare that variable outside the for loop. And then so, if card, value is, let's do the base case is, greater than or equal to 2 and less than or equal to, 10. Or less than or equal to 10, or should be 11?
Well, can't you just make that, check for greater than 10? Check for 10 or greater?
So what are we focused on now?
So I'm thinking of the three cases we have to do three.
yes, but right now, what time are we working on solving?
Oh, making sure it's and some of the values, so we don't need to worry about using them as interesting.
That's be the next task.
Okay.
The, don't like, try to full thing, and do all this.
Oh, I was just thinking like, yeah.
I mean, you're right. But it's easy to get lost in the deep.
So if card value is less than or equal to 10, if the values dot push, values 10. Card dot value, right? Else, values up at 10. That comes in as a new.
So, I think so.
That should, then, on the test. Is that what the, sticky note is on the sticky note on the keyboard?
And just to confirm, I'm looking at the source code, aces are 1 in this packet.
So that package you just, where,
Yeah, we confirmed it, there on mine, I think it's 3. Exactly.
So the next one we're doing, moving on to is test score is calculated correctly for aces. So we're gonna need to take into account what the current card value, the hand value is. Because we're gonna have to do an assessment on that being less than 21, right? Because you have to decide whether it's the one, whether it's more advantageous. I'm trying to first figure out, because whether it's a 1 or 11, you gotta figure out whether it's most advantageous for the player. So before I even get into the code, I'm trying to just map out on paper here, what would be those scenarios where it would be more advantageous to the player. So
usually when you play though, they usually announce both. They say this is 50 or 5. Do you explain that? What do you mean by that? So if you have a 4 and an ace, dealers at 50 or 5.
Yeah, the player.
Yeah.
If you were over, you would log in.
Gives, would the other give you the total of what you have, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
4 or 5.
so if you're holding an ace, if you're holding an ace and a 4, 15 or 5.
So if you hit and you get a 10, then that's gonna make it a hard 15 instead of a soft 15.
So it's the only time it's not advantageous then when the higher option will be greater than.
Yeah.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yep.
So they're not basically load up inside of that value.
Yep. So,
Oh, within the. Is there a 1 value? If I replace that 1 with an 11, does it plus? It means that 11. Like it total, if it doesn't, into the sum, that's what we. Right. If there's an ace in that, there's a 1, I'm gonna add up, I'm gonna sum those values. And if I get 10, then that means that the ace can count. And if I can't add 10, that means the ace counts.
Surely means if you have more than 11.
Yeah.
You don't add, or you have 11 or less, you add the 10.
Right. But you could have more than the ace, and that's weird.
so
But it's one card at a time, so it'd be the same thing, the same test.
So should you have a running total then for each value that's going on within the loop to see if that really is over 21?
So I think that the way the evaluating hand is called
Right.
is not, we're gonna have, hand is gonna be an array that's maintained through the game, so you call it, you add a thing to hand, you call it value for hand on it. Just to see if the person requested it, that's the only thing, you don't need to call it as, or. Maybe I'm missing.
But that's the key, you're right, that's a key question. Are we giving the player a score after every card is dealt, or are we reevaluating the cards every time?
You just determine the cost.
They can't get another question.
So again, back to.
So the question. Like us or not us.
I personally recommend carrying body And then later you can determine the class if it's over 20.
We just look at calculated monthly for cases, so that's where you become. Where the, because looking at if it's calculated correctly for cases, the check being if one in values. If one in values and some greater than 21?
If one value says, doesn't do an internal evaluation of the hand, see if it's already. Like, what you get that, okay. I think it could be over.
Yeah.
All right,
It's like,
value, okay, then you want to do that evaluate, like a self-evaluate hand, you don't want, can't call it like, then you were, if, then, okay. Okay, got it, all right. So like if one in values, all right. And let's see, and then if
So,
some values, I'm just, values greater than.
throughout, so you're thinking about treating cases as 11 to start, then you can find out that you busted it, and then knock it down to 1.
I think it's what you said.
Huh?
I think it's what you said.
Okay, I just saw the one there.
Okay.
there. So looking for that one, we're going to pop and put it at 11.
Okay, so. Well, if, instead of maybe the term base, here, this is where we can run the track, like we would, you're saying something 11 first, the one, and then we do some values, like 11s in there, because there's only one way to get 11. And then if the sum's greater than 21, you actually change the list, so it goes back to a 1, and then return the sum that way. Is that where you go with that?
I'm actually confused myself because I'm still thinking about what that creates.
Yeah, you can.
So,
Want like one to do it for multiple.
well, so we be like, if one value that doesn't tell us, right? So then we like count of one value. Well, but if we had an eight, and that would be 18, right? Like, that would be, but what would that be 90?
What do we run the loop if we do and if there's in, like anytime we come across a 1, we add 10 to the value that it doesn't cost us. And then we go to the next one, we add 10 again, it doesn't cost us to that helps.
Another solution that I was thinking of is if we just elevate aces to 11 to start, and then have separate variable track when the aces are in hand, then you know how many times to subtract 10 and see if that will get you back under a bust. So like if calculate it as if there are 11 and tally how many aces there are, and then once you calculate the score, if you're over 21, you can subtract 10 if you have an ace.
So we more kind of like add how many sum as it goes, so for each one.
So it's put your summary.
Can you just sum in, so
You can sum the value.
Yeah. Or. Line 17.
yeah, if you do the sum there, if you just check what the sum is at that point, and if it's less than.
Oh, so that was our start, it looks like we started doing that last week.
Yeah.
Or one of the other weeks, okay.
Let me, a stupid possibility. Is there any, does it simplify the problem if we keep a running score for each player and just process a card at a time? Does that simplify that whole, how many aces do I have? Because when you play the game, it's played, you can't change your score 2 cards down. You said, well, that's gonna be a 1, so I got 11. Or does that make it more complicated?
You get. Yeah. The whole, the hand holds, whatever.
No, I understand that, but once I say that ace is a 1, I can't go back a card later and say, no, count it as a 10.
No,
Vice versa.
no, you can't, you can't. Like, we're dying.
So right to the end of the game, that's how it's set up?
So if you got ace, yeah, so you don't have to declare if you've gotten your first 2 cards, whether it's.
You never
You never did.
Okay,
So like,
it's better to keep.
yeah.
And a list of all possible.
Well, it's kind of a little all about. Use this when we're calculating the meeting as well.
I like the idea when you have like an ace count variable, right? And then inside your if while loop, you can just say if the card type is 1, add 11 to the thing, and then you have your variable to know, or you can check for 11s instead of if 1 in values, you check for 11s in values.
I like both because
Actually,
this values, your score can be, it's gonna be, you have, you want 16, you have 6, and it's gonna work, you have 2 aces, and it's gonna be like, okay, 12, or you have 22, like those are the things.
what if instead of 1, logic here, if card value was 1, push 11 to our, and 11 to our array, and then do logic if 11 in values, and your loss string. So the choices can be afterwards. So I don't sort of want to, you can only ever have one piece be
Right.
If you just track something in bond 17, and it's lower than 12, no, lower than 11, then you can drop a 1 and make it 11. Basically, you can add 10 to the sum.
Oh, that's kind of 11, you can add 10.
Yeah.
So you bear in mind, and it doesn't really matter if it's
Right.
it's just the end of it.
You're not being led with checking values. But yeah, if you check this on there, and then just add 10 if it's below 11, then you can add the 10 back.
I would, before the 1 in values, the 1 above, I would have like a equals sum of values, sum of values, and then if 1 in values, whatever value plus 10.
Yeah.
And then you earn.
June, Charlie?
Sure. Alright. Okay, so values equals some values.
That way you're only calculating the still ones.
Is it value?
Singular value, this is our recurring value.
Hey, do we have,
We don't,
is that gonna confuse it though? No, it isn't. Okay, then a,
perfect, yep.
statement there, you did 1 in values, and liking that value.
No.
It'll pick up.
Oh, it'll be the right.
Okay, so if value, greater than 11, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, singular value.
Greater than,
That's the yes. No,
Just plus 10.
wait,
less than 11. And if one of those is value, then 11.
you can add 10 to the
Yeah,
value.
value plus, value.
Value plus
Yeah, it equals 10. Yeah, just return value. Let's try that, see what that is.
It is
Period.
period,
Period.
not in the code.
No, you can do it because it's just, you have to hold on to the period. We did.
No, wait, no.
No. You have to comment on next bill. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe, we don't know if it did.
What is that?
I still need to expect this to fail, so it's not gonna mark it as a pass.
Oh, yeah, and we have to do a cert evaluate hand, just bring that down.
That's from it.
Yeah, literally you bring the.
Yeah.
It can be, but in this case, it would show up as a period value when it comes.
Just where it says a cert, well,
If you do break it, only failure you're gonna see is.
Oh, we don't have.
All it's red will tell you like what's wrong.
So that-
Where those are all failed. Change the first part of that, if you. This bit, this bit. And then you have to. Maybe input this thing, because it's. Yeah.
a cert, okay.
Now.
Stands.
And so like as we get.
Oh, yeah.
It's similar to when you want to, when you're saying it fails, like, hey, you told us it failed. Like,
Yay.
Okay, let's say the buzzer. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is less than 11. Yeah, the way that we pick it up.
Okay.
We don't.
That's what I'm saying. Would have been 11.
Right, so I think it's wrong. That's what I'm getting, is like, if we have.
You wanna, maybe you wanna make the test to fail? Yeah.
We have an avenue.
No, okay. I missed.
So the QA guys, then we could probably solve just the digital test case, we don't have to then the test going like anything else. We just have to add one more bit to that. After we create all.
Okay, so I think we're looking at the test results. Let's get down. Okay, I think I see. Okay. Test correct number of cards on hit. Can we go to that one? Oh. let's see. Does hit mean you're done playing, you're filling your?
It means you want to take another card.
Oh.
Stand means you're done taking a card.
Also, you are always showing your cards, the only cards you don't see are the dealer's cards.
So what is this what is this check test doing? It's confirming you have enough cards, or
If
added one?
you start with 2
You should have 3.
and you hit, then you should have 3. But we need to implement the logic for the game, both in the active file and in the test. This is something we don't have in your game.
Oh, so we don't have a hit method.
Maybe delete the line 78 and we'll see how it fails.
Oh yeah, take that.
Just delete it.
I think you can use the. This is a thing for you.
Okay, you can move the keyword off the side.
That doesn't track that. I'll do that. What's that?
C.
I heard C in my.
Expected 3, actual 2. Yeah, okay.
So I understand. What it's saying is, in code, we have to create something that's it, then call it, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so let's make a, I guess, yeah, scroll down,
One thing is like probably the best thing you can do is in the test, write the code you wish existed.
oh, okay, just directly in it, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so then, well, the player hand is getting another card. Can we just instantiate another card? I don't know if that's really what we're doing, but, let's just do that first and make sure that says length 3 and then change it. So you can just like take all of, actually wait, or should we do an insert or append? Actually, can we just do, maybe we should do an append? I don't know like what the best way is to add it here.
Or so you
but-
just call the method here, right?
Yeah, I think that's much.
Nothing.
Don't write the method, just call it and expect it to be. Like,
Oh, so the name of it would be,
how.
On the left side. So we have a player, so maybe player not hit, player stand.
oh, okay, yeah, let's do that for now. Yeah, let's do it, underneath the player class. Oh wait, are we putting that?
Writing the tab.
We're writing just what it is called. Okay. I guess is, oh no, is this like, just hit, I guess?
Player dot hit.
Yeah. Let's do so. Player. And then I guess, so now we should probably
Does it-
make,
Does it need to have parentheses to make it function?
Yes, right.
oh yeah,
And how can we tell if this is doing anything? Did it?
oh, run the test.
Yeah, no attribute hit, so we get it.
Okay, so let's make that. So,
It should be in the game.
so this like,
The full game.
okay, yes, I feel like, well, ideal, oh yeah, so this is, should be returning one card, so can we use this to do, self-dot cards? Can we return? Well, yeah, can we just return a card from this self-dot card? And then append to that? Or no, wait, no, that would make sense. So maybe
I think we have the get card function outside of this. Right, and then we can make it out of.
Yeah, awesome. Just think one thing we have to
Actually,
pretty much.
exactly, yeah, because that was an append. Oh yeah, we take that line 46.
to edit the test, use that.
Oh, really? wait,
That scale is single turn to whoever's ready to receive it.
And, logic, just,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's here's the
it's not a player object. Sure, you're object knowledge. You do have to be.
That even this has.
Player,
and just to be clear, whenever the player hand you gave these cards, we might have to edit that line. I just want to, at least the cards there for you.
okay. So, can we see what deal is on, is that on the game? Okay, wait, so then, game, is it game dot deal? And then, wait, okay, we don't, self is the game, so then hand,
Got the player hand already created up there?
oh yeah, it's right there, yeah, let's just, can we just use that, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's run the test.
Down the period, I did the same thing.
So I think, but top of Jack, you had created a function and we didn't have body function.
Oh, that's right.
So just delete it.
Now, this one is missing one required argument because we go back to the test that we're running. Yeah,
We didn't actually instantiate a game with it.
exactly, yeah, so you need to open close parentheses after game. No, keep that there.
Oh, wait, we need to make a game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's, can we do the parentheses, right? Can you do that? Can you instantiate it and then also
Right, yeah.
on it? Wow, okay, let's do it. Is that with that? Okay.
And really, because the game has players,
Here we go.
maybe your hand, you just.
But you need to assign it, yeah, you will need it. Just assign, I guess, the game to a game. Yeah. Yeah, so to like the left of it, just, yeah, it's more game.
I think you make the hardest time to be an navigator.
I hope someone do it, so, just wanted to get up here. Okay. It's so hard.
See the VLR piece.
What is a game, sir? If they see that there's a function equal, is that like point for atoms? Game dot?
It's the class.
And the thing that we, so there's the depth, you can read this, but on the given. I've missed the last two of these, so you all made a significant amount of progress.
Hold on 1 second, was there still a question?
Yeah, what is a server?
So in PyTest, it essentially evaluates this and sees as if it equal, well, essentially it evaluates the whole expression. And if it's truthy, then it passes. If it's faulty, it's broken. And
Yeah.
So like, you can use the assert from the regular flow, and if an assert condition fails, it's just gonna stop execution altogether. But there is a way to disable that and how you call, but it's just not typically considered good form to use asserts in your script. Though sometimes it's good, like maybe for a notebook, to make sure your condition is good.
It makes it where that flag through all its sort of evaluation can really speed up your, it's like how. See it.
Okay, the Pythons will run each of these tests in parallel. Okay. So as soon as it hits an assert false, it's gonna say, okay, we're done with this specific test, and it's gonna report that as a failure.
Last question.
So the one right is, PyTest looks specifically for files that start with test underscore, and within that file, it looks for functions or classes that start with test underscore. And you can configure that to be something different if you want, but PyTest will scan your entire code repo for these tests based on that number.
So they can be in the same file.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not good. I mean, like, I haven't
So
seen.
you didn't file this to start with test,
Oh, no, it has to be a test underscore inside.
Yeah. Or configure elements.
And then, like, seriously, if you make Python work with something, because someone will make some class name something. So very right. You're a QA veteran, so yes, I've seen a lot of failures. That's correct number of cards on stand, because you got this passing, or are we?
It's been registered.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, and step on stand already, since test dealer, okay, this sounds like a fun evaluation. Okay, let's add some test data. This is what I was talking about. You can go to the cases. But that would take you to it. It's up there. One more. Okay, so inside the test data here, so, okay, we have one hand, we have another hand, we have 3 hands here. I want to add a hand where we have a face card and an ace, and it should be evaluated as 21. Right, like so, on line, let's start line 73, and let's push that ending guy down 1 line. Actually, I want to keep it inside of the parameterize. So I guess I want to be on line 73, inside of it, yeah, and then a new line, and we'll type on that one. And then, I guess what, is this like a tuple? No, yeah.
And you just copy the line.
Yeah, copy the first line there, the very first one of these, because it's the only one that's just 2 cards. And just the whole line, we're gonna just, all we're gonna do with this one is we're gonna change the second ace to be king, and then we're gonna change the value. Okay, so yeah, change that second ace to be the king of hearts, and then change the answer to that, yeah, that one too. And then at the end, change the value for, instead of 12, yeah, that's good. So change that 12 to 21, and we should be good. Run this again. Sweet. Okay, cool. No, I just wanted to make sure that we had, like, the thing about like testing and capability is like, you want to put the test data in the test before you fix it, so that every single time, everything's being failed before it gets executed. So that's great, thank you. That makes the QA part of my brain happy. Now I think we have to implement something new about the dealer. Dealer looks dead. If you pass it to you, you got a hit. I'm sorry. Wow, I get nothing. Okay. All right. I guess we're gonna run evaluate again. And if it's under, let's see, if it's under, what were we in, 16 or 17?
17, so that.
Okay, so
But why, so now we're not passing a hand, we're passing the first card, second, that's not gonna work long term.
The third card you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Card, we still call this.
Right.
Right. Well, so, what this test is gonna do, right, like, it's not gonna actually be involving on the taking a hit on the number of cards. It's gonna bring in I mean, it's written, the way it's written is first card, second card hit. So, but the way that it would be evaluated is first card, second, all we had to evaluate is a hand, because
I'm gonna put those into a hand, and then I'm going to evaluate them. And so, in that case, it almost, I'm not certain, and if anybody could explain why we were doing it for a thing here versus just a hand and evaluating it for the other take a hit.
I wanted to make sure that we had specific values.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, like, if we just pulled a random hand, then we have no clue.
Right, but
What we do.
but the test above, like, for example, the way that data was parameterized was it was multiple cards in a hand already, right? Like the card face and value was already in.
Where's that better?
Yeah, I mean, it's right there was, it's a list of cards, right? Like, so instead of having passing cards individually,
I mean, you're only looking at right? It's just trying to get a sense of, here's a couple things to think of.
I can work with this one, and if we want to make it all encompassing, we can do that. I'm trying to think, I guess we need on the game, we don't have a concept of a dealer. So at the, like, what we probably need, a method here that's, evaluate, well, first, we're gonna actually have to put a dealer on the,
You should probably do code that consumes it first and then tests.
well, I'm just trying to figure out where we can fit a dealer here before I code the consumes of the test case, right? Because it's gonna be game dot dealer dot evaluate.
We have players equals player dot get and for underscore and range players plus one. So that should take the number of players, which is on the init function, as a parameter, and that adds one more person for the dealer.
So a dealer just runs a player.
And I only want to add that, we're trying to consume first.
Oh.
So even if you have to add different testers. Yeah.
But I don't think our all use the testable every APIs.
Right.
Nor are they necessarily, or it should be, but. Seems to work.
So you're saying just to call somebody a dealer and then figure out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the more we can like,
Move on, yeah.
figure out how to use our code, it makes the code easier to write and use and easier to test especially.
So under test driven development, do you design your objects and classes?
In Revit.
Okay.
Which usually ends up keep giving you simple code.
Yeah.
Everyone said they do it, and then it just kind of goes away after a while.
Well, we've got 2 cards, and we know that he needs to hit if it's less than 17. So I would probably pass the 2 cards to some method on the game object that's called evaluate dealer. And that's basically going to be what I put here as a big deal again. Put the 2 cards. Yeah. Because the dealer is going to be different than the player is, and the player is going to get.
So it would make more sense to have every game have a dealer and get the dealer outside of the. Have the dealer outside of the.
I was just going to sign inside this. I was going to say self-value, make it be a 0, 1 inside the first time, last time. So.
Recommendation for this class. The good dealer.
What?
My recommendation for the class element.
It is that the standard for him. Like,
With all this, you get all the players at the end of the dealer, then you can pick one to that one.
yeah, and also we can think of the able to but again, I'm sure. So yeah, I think evaluate dealer hand pass. I might even say like above that, I would be like hand equals and make it a list and then pass first. Just so that if we want to change this test in the future, deal with the hand instead of a number of cards or a number of cards becoming a list. We're doing it. And then just pass hand to that. And I mean, it's going to fail because we don't have that. That's how I would do it. I would do it like we did on the other one where it's like game, but you could do it straight off the game too.
That we're failing because we still actually.
Yeah.
So maybe like going through some of the logic of the game and then figure out how the test will fit into it.
Some structure before, so you decided on the game class and a player class independent, right? So player is something different. It's not a sub to game.
This is a thing that molds cards and it's.
The game contains player options.
And are we gonna make the dealer a player, or, I mean, we're not?
I mean, that, game, or the self-taught players has that +1 to automatically include the dealer.
So with that timer I hit the time when I want to start the retrospective. So thanks for everyone who contributed and boy, this is wonderful. Yeah. So on your post-it notes, just I want to give you a couple minutes to write down any observations you have about, like I said, things you're surprised by, things you enjoyed, things you didn't like, things you're surprised by, things that could be better. Yeah, ways you felt, and you can kind of pull them up and I'll go select them. Good. Good. Right. Yeah, it's wobbly.
Yeah, so it can tilt, get stored.
It works.
Yeah, but if you lean on it,
It's so.
That E,
Yeah.
try that.
so C.
It's called eating.
That's just a
So I'm just gonna read through these and, we can discuss some, applaud, boo, whatever. Is there a way to have the timer on the screen rather than the phone? Is this something we'd want to do? I think it sounds good. Is that what people, yeah? That sounds good. I'll look, see if we can do that. I'm sure we can.
We need another screen over here.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
I'm just not sure if there's like a way you can do that, like,
Yeah, like,
in the corner or something, and
Yeah.
say on top, but.
yeah.
You know, what I'm saying, I'm not sure if it's possible, I know we used to broadcast these sessions, is there any way for us on our laptops to have the screen? Because, I mean, with my glasses, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't see from back here, not that that's your fault, it's probably mine.
You did live stream.
Yeah, and if you think laptop, you can see that I have the video feed and
Oh.
the camera section.
So we can do that.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually gonna switch it to the camera only.
Self-testing the flow. Yeah, thanks, Brian. That helped a lot. Yeah. These are always too short. That's true, yeah, what, sometimes we should see if we could do. Yeah. I know, my sister needs to get home at some point too.
Claudia.
I'm just being mindful of your time. Complexity must be dealt with eventually. That is true. That's something that, personally, like, as kind of a coach and stuff, I'm like, at what point do we like go back to refactor some of this? You know, we kind of talked about maybe one session on, like, focus on refactoring or something like that. Did anybody have any thoughts about that? Like, how we could, like, right? Yeah.
Be able to, so I'm going to okay,
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, it's like, you know, like, there's something on here that says it's better to explain test-driven development, and it's like, we should have, the first thing we should have done is get rid of the X fail, so that we can see it fail. That's, you know, we want to see it fail, then we do write the least amount of code possible to get it to green, and then we refactor. That's how it should work, but like, you know, we've been kind of debating about
How much do we want to push?
yeah,
How
how dogmatic.
we want to let everyone else kind of discover.
Yeah, this is supposed to be more fun than like really trying to drill in test-driven development, so we've kind of been loosey-goosey.
But your complexity thing's interesting, because like, you know, Google Labs has the perspective of, you do the hardest thing first, and you fail quickly.
Yeah,
So, but test-driven development seems to maybe go for the next most obvious easy thing by how the workflow works. I don't know if that's accurate or.
everybody's different, you know, like, one of the things I'm trying to research and figure out is like, is there a like system that can help us with test-driven development? Because like, there's a lot of like, essentially, every time I like interview experts and like what they do, everyone does it a little bit differently. And that's nice, but it's also hard, to like really say.
Like, what people find is that there's two different axes that it goes on of how people conduct the development. And one of them is going to be just like general process maturity, like how much process maturity do they have over the. The other one is like, application. Right, like you can have very low process maturity and high application maturity, and when you're adding, it would be like, I can add tests, I can add features, based on those tests pretty easily. If you have low application maturity and low development maturity, you know, then you're doing not as easily. The patterns that you see, you find in development area, very the ones even the low mature, like you're trying to implement it in a already established piece of software. Now it's doing the that's the word, expanding your anchor. And where it shows up in process. Because right, like every software is already in the right, like, so some of those are yeah, it's the same thing for like finding but that sure.
But do people ever find that, kind of what you were saying, that when you're dealing with these small pieces, that you've lost the design, and at what point in time you sit back and say, well, what's the big picture that I'm painting here? Or does just Ted doing these tests, does that actually get you to where there's actually a design?
Well, and so part of it is the thing that does, what we do here, because we have to move on.
Yeah.
There's like 20 of us, is that we like kind of go through the thing. But like, we sit there and it's a lot of people do, we'll close or anything, this is, we will do some design or some like domain driven design while you're thinking through the problem. What you're not gonna do is write the class first. Like, you might sketch out the class, you might do a student code, like, complicated, you might test, and then you're gonna write the student code into your, like, it's not like a war against concepts of what you're gonna be doing. But if you don't write the code first.
One of the, kind of fluid impact on community, at least in my perspective, is Hank Shaw. I talked to him about refactoring, and he said, like, kind of like, and I was asking what his thoughts on refactoring was, and he said that he doesn't think of it as a separate thing. He thinks of it as you write tests and you think about the design of your code the entire time. And so you just kind of, like, I definitely have had it where I've written a whole suite of tests and I build something and I'm like, oh, I really don't like how this works. I want to, I thought of the more elegant way to interact with it. And then so I like scrapped a whole bunch of good tests, or I kind of changed them, but scrapped a bunch of them. But it's definitely something that's good to consider as you go. I like the test-driven development approach. Awesome, thank you. That's good to hear. I need better glasses.
That was mine.
Like, is it just me who's a little focused?
Is it better?
Yeah, a little bit. So in McDarren, it just seemed.
That's about. Well, I do like the idea. If we could actually pop it up on our laptops, and we're watching it.
Yeah. Oh, there's another way. I just realized because with PyCharm, they have a code with me thing, so you could like subscribe and watch it live. Oh, do that next.
I kind of feel it might be, like, what is probably better for records.
I'd see that. So, yeah.
So, blowing up the camera, given how dull it, or it goes.
The code would be made probably better because if more than one person is trying to watch while streaming, streaming. Good call.
You then also will see a ton of cursors. Another. Yeah, it's not
Yeah. Note to self, read through code before coming. Honestly, I was thinking we should have gone through the code and see the time we got started. That's definitely, absolutely. This one. Question on best manner to design classes. How do patterns relate? That's a great question.
Sure, I answer that.
Yeah, I will start with, so this is the idea of the way I'm thinking about answering this is the idea of consume first, right? If we imagine, like, what if this code existed, what would it look like? And you use it in your test case that drives the kind of class and how you design your classes. But then, of course, it's also like kind of looking back at what you already have. Because, like I'm trying to think of how to talk about, like, we're not doing the best job of like going back and trying to think about how to better improve our class design. But I think that's important, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to like, the high level first, you can find details, usually in the form of an function.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't do test-driven development.
Yeah.
So those with stuff.
Yeah.
I think you do the class diagram first and then you do the test-driven slide.
Yeah.
So the test will be after the actual class diagram is
Yeah, like I feel like I used to design more that way, you know, because it's like in my mind, like, okay, we need a class that handles this role, that does these things. And then, at least personally speaking, the way I design, right, is that I ended up with much too complicated classes and very hard to test classes. Not to say that that's what you do, but that's kind of why I've enjoyed the test-driven development, kind of help me remind myself, like, yeah, like break it apart, make things smaller.
If not to just completely functionally too, without the classes. It's the group now, like, approach class method, so. Sorry.
No.
Let's keep it classy.
Let's find the server. They're just saying the server does.
Oh, somebody learned something. And I know writing these are not the easiest thing in the world. Great way to learn, lots of good ideas. Great. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're doing it. Carrying a project over has its own issues. Yeah, absolutely does.
Yeah, you know, I was only going to really keep it all and add it all.
Yeah.
I can only say that's what we can do, but it was a different experience.
Oh, I mean, it's a complicated problem, it's a complicated code, it doesn't fit on one screen, yeah, absolutely. One of the things we weighed in and experimented. Yeah. Yeah. So, pieces are pain. Heard that.
That's why it's a good problem.
Yeah, right, like, what isn't a pain in real life?
Sleep. Good joker.
4 minutes seem better than 3 to finish a test. Good feedback, thank you. Communication was good. Awesome, which, yeah, I'm actually very happy to hear that, because like I know last time we had some issues with that. I'm not familiar with the code base and my phone is dead. Yeah, totally.
Bring a charger.
I'm almost out of my battery too, but yeah, like I do feel like yeah, you know, there's definitely an issue. You know, we are dealing with code being complex. You know, it's like one of those things too. Like, how much preamble do we do before we get into coding? And you know, we definitely keep feeling like, oh, we're doing too much. We need to get into it. But yeah, it's a good point.
Well, I think some of it should be on us. Like, I mean, there's no big deal to print this up and kind of take a look at it before we come here. Right? Gives us a feel for what's going on, and it doesn't. Yeah.
And we have, you know, 2 new people here who had no clue what this was.
Yeah, announcement.
I've been updating it up with what we're doing. Recording.
I don't know what happened. So when these guys talked about the RBA, the way they pitched it, it sounded fantastic. Like immediately.
Was it fantastic?
It was. This is amazing. Like, just getting into this, like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So throughout the pandemic, we were doing long Discord, and we noticed that everyone was just sitting there, and it was just Chris and I, you were at the fast time, just looking. Everyone would just be silent, and I would be so driven by the end of it. But here, it's like interactive with each other.
getting a team informed, and it's really nice. More time explaining TDD. Absolutely, yeah. Good. I feel like we'll always get that. Yeah, well, yeah. All right, and how to control the two word rankings.
Well, I don't know the words, but I was talking about the navigator. I control the flow of the conversation, when other, you're not control each other, like anything,
In the past, we just had a navigator going, and suddenly the ensemble's been like, they weren't really engaged, but today the ensemble was way better and handled well.
Definitely. When implementing tests, prefer to modify the test code before the real code. When adding features, prefer to modify the code before the test code. When implementing tests, prefer to modify the test code before the real code. When adding features, prefer to modify the real code before the test code. Yeah.
But you can do it.
But, and the thought on that is, we got to a point where some of the game logic would have needed to be implemented before we could even start addressing a test. So sometimes we need to go into that, the game logic.
I mean, if you can do that, and that's not code, as long as it's not coding. So
Yeah.
It also makes it if you make it go to the long test. It gets you you need instead of you could make that test set, right? We could have a test for start a game, that thing, then we have a test for this other thing, you know, like the tests are kind of like okay, this is handled. The internal logic is more, but like once that in.
Yeah, all the time I write a test, like a functional test or end-to-end test, and I'm like, crap, I need more detail.
It's one, you know the design you're aiming for, and you're gonna design your tests.
Well, I think that the difficulty in like I don't have a lot of the tests that indicate that we need to help you get results.
Like the one we're already in, if they granted that, but they were like, well, we need to take the wood when we got the game class, so, and I was thinking that's a problem with TD.
So what we do here is that, you know, any other dealer-related tests or game-related tests or anything about the content. But the first thing I can add, that's like test, dealer, indicate. And then once they have that, then I can make that dealer about it, and I can write all code for that dealer. And then we can
That's driven by your understanding of how you need to structure that design.
But, well, it's also one of the things what that is for when you're getting.
Yeah.
And if my design was kind of stinky, but my tests are good, that's someplace for me. I can move things around the design and read one of my tests, like, okay, cool, everything's still being added for things.
Some of those, you take care of MVPs, right? Here's what it takes, we define what it takes to make a product. How do we test? What do I need to make this? So I need to write the test, for the okay, do I have a car, do I have this, what do we do? And then now I test, I'm gonna find out. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Here's this whole stuff in your head.
Well, that's the
Maybe having the code in an open repository would let everyone be familiar with where you left off every month. Absolutely. Yeah, and like everyone know where the code repository is. Liked code explanation at the beginning. Awesome, thank you. And, oops. The framework Brian set up with the additional tests was helpful.
Rock on.
I'm wondering, like, we have, like, you guys are here early, right? Ish.
Early-ish, not as early as.
And what if we did, like, it's like, hey, you guys can jump up at 6:15 and read over the code together, like, even if you guys are getting set up with a lot of laptop. We could have, like, you guys do your stuff. 10 minutes of laptops and stuff. Because as good as any side up there,
Yeah,
kind of like, I guess Amazon said they did that for a while, is they made them write out the memo, it actually made time in the meeting. Certainly.
Like we have meetings and meetings and the meeting was
I would definitely encourage people, I don't know how you implement that structurally.
Like, if you guys are here, you don't say. You can't have code, right? You can't laptop. Hey, if you wanna come, print for yourself, show up, just really, we'll talk.
We could put the doors open at.
Yeah.
Or in the generic description, say, we can say meeting starts at 6:30, but, we'll have to get into it at 7 or something, but I'll have to be setting up and. I used to do that in the library, and just said, like, door open this time, usually set and like have start at 15 after. Yeah. Whatever, it was helpful. People felt like if they were late, that they were trying to the real thing, they were happy, that kind of thing, but people wanted to really just chat.
I want to thank you guys for what you did to set this up, as well as all the people that got to go this far, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have got as much out of the past. So thanks a lot.
Everyone in the room contributed to it, yeah. Great, well, just a reminder, so I think it's in 2 weeks, we have another meeting here, and Dakota is going to be speaking, so there, yes, 2 weeks from today, so
The 5 months learning, testing,
browser
rather automation. Like rather automation more than browser testing, scraping, things you might want to do with the program for web browser. And ways to organize the code so you don't hate it and you come back to things. We'll do. No, it's big something better there. And so I have some bold and really just not.
It's gonna be the W. The question I have is, do we want to continue with this another month? I think one more month and we'll pretty much be near the end of it. And then what I was thinking, maybe, depending on the state of the code after next month, then I might go through and kind of, chop the logic. And then the following month, we can actually do a refactor and see how well tests really help us with that. Does that sound like a good idea?
I think so. I wanna see this at the end to see like how, see if I can kind of map out how our test-driven approach has like shaped it to be very efficient. I've never seen, I've just never even thought about anything like this. It's like really interesting to see. Yeah, just really interesting.
You can drop off your post-notes and pens and computers.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being.